Hey everybody, Mr. Wagner here. Today we are going to work on Flappy 9. We are going to pop up some more graphical images and work on some gameplay, and that's kind of the plan for Flappy 9. All right, let's get going. Okay, first thing we're going to do is let's take a look at our Flappy game on the internet. So if I look at this and I click on it, notice how he falls and then there's this restart button. And when I click on that, sort of does the same thing. So we're going to work on getting some of those graphics up there. Maybe not exactly like this. I'm just going to use this restart button instead of restart share and add to leaderboard. But you'll see what we're doing. Okay, let me minimize that. We'll get going. So the first thing I want you to notice is in our Flappy game, we got a lot of graphics, and a lot of these graphics are using, roughly the same amount of code that we're seeing right here. The background and the foreground and the pipe. But, the foreground and the pipe, they have extra stuff to them. But what if I just want to pop up one easy graphic? And that's what we're going to do. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to copy this background class, Command C, and I'm going to paste it just below Command V. And since we are going to be popping up PNG images, I'm just going to call this class PNG. For lack of a better word. And since PNG graphics can have an alpha channel, remember that's how transparent something is, I'm going to say self.image.convert on line 24 _ alpha, like that. Okay, so now we have this PNG class that we can use to define some other graphics that we are going to use. Okay, let's scroll down and instantiate some of these PNG objects. Okay, so let's scroll down here, and I'm going to go, it's after make pipes. Let's go here to line 148 and let's define a couple graphics. Say restart equals, and PNG, remember PNG is our new class. I'm going to copy this whole OS path join thing because that takes a lot. I'll pop that in there. OS path, and the PNG we're going to pop up is called restart. Okay, and we need a place to put it, so we're going to put this at 80, screen height divided by 3. Okay, so there's our restart, and we're also going to we're also going to do another one called message, but I'm just going to copy and paste this. So Command C, Command V. And this one is called message. You'll see where these pop up. Message, we're going to put that at 50, 10. Okay. And I also want you to know that our background was just a simple PNG object. So why don't we just go ahead and change our background to PNG, and then we'll get rid of the background class. Okay, so I'm going to scroll up here, and right here where it says background equals background with the file name, let's just change that to PNG. Okay, that makes sense. Just kind of cleaning things up. Now, the fact that we got rid of that background class, we should get rid of it at the top of our code. So let's scroll on up and let's do that. Okay, here's our background class because we no longer need this. Now let me show you two different ways you could get rid of it. I mean, the first way is obviously just delete it, right? But sometimes you don't want to delete code. Sometimes you just kind of want to comment out a whole block of code. Now notice how I've selected this. If I hold down the command key and hit the slash button, it comments out that entire thing. Isn't that cool? And if I hit the slash key again, it uncomments. Comment, uncomment, comment, uncomment, comment, uncomment. So as you grow in your coding abilities, get used to those keyboard shortcuts because they will make your life easier. Anyway, so I'm just going to comment that out. So let's see what we can do about putting those messages on our screen and making our gameplay a little bit better. We've already instantiated those objects, and those objects names are restart and message. Okay, so we have two different objects, restart and message, and let's go ahead and use those. I'm going to scroll all the way down to the bottom and let's type some code. Okay, so right here, before we put our base on, let's go ahead and put our messages. And the first message that we want to do is we want to pop up a message when it's waiting, okay? So we're going to use that. We're going to say something like show welcome message when waiting, okay? And we're going to say if Flappy waiting, so if that's true, then we're just going to say screen.blit message.image and message.rect. Okay? And if we are playing our game and the bird crashes and dies, then Flappy is stopped. So we want to pop up that restart message. So let's try that. If Flappy.stopped screen.blit restart, I think that's with a capital, restart.image and restart.rect. Okay, so let's go ahead and run and see what we got. So now notice my Flappy Bird get ready thing is looking pretty good. Maybe I'll move these things around later. Who knows? We'll see how it plays. And now I click. We'll run for a little bit. Let's see if we can get through a pipe. Okay, we got through a pipe. And now when I hit, it gets to restart. Okay? Now, we already have some code there when we restart. So let's click, and it doesn't work. It doesn't do a restart. So let's see if we can get our game to restart. Now where we would do that is when we press our space bar or click our mouse button. So let's go up into the code that does that. All right here we have if Flappy is waiting, then we do stuff, right? Well, we're not waiting. We've played and Flappy is now stopped. So let's go ahead and do if Flappy dot stopped colon. Now Flappy is stopped, so we need to do a couple things. We need to say Flappy dot stopped is equal to false because Flappy is now no longer stopped because we're restarting the game. We're going to say Flappy dot waiting equals true because now we're in a waiting state. We are going to say Flappy dot grav equals 0.0. And what that does is that sets him to no longer be falling and just sort of be floating around in that waiting state. So we do have to reset that gravity, because that gravity could still be set really high from the previous time, in which case he would fall, and then that wouldn't work very well. And then I think we need to make some more pipes. So let's drop in a make pipes, right? And we'll see how that runs. Okay, so let's run that. Okay, so our bird's ready. We click on it. We click, 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 click. Boom, we've crashed. I'm going to click on the button, and now I'm waiting, but notice how I got this green pipe in here. So we're going to have to fix that. That's a little bug, and I don't think that's going to be all that hard to fix, but let's try. And then it stops, and it's still there. Up. So this is kind of a hard game to play. Yeah, so we got to really get rid of those pipes. Now, I think what's happening here is when we make our pipes, we just keep making more and more and more and more pipes. And what we really want to do is we want to clear out all the pipes and start with brand new pipes, okay? So the way we would do that is we need to empty out that list. And probably where we want to empty out that list is in make pipes itself. So let's see what we can do here. Okay, so let's go to make pipes. And remember, pipes is a sprite group, okay? It's a sprite group. So let's see how we can empty a sprite group. And usually what I would do on something like that is I would actually go to the internet and I would look. So let's type in something like Pygame sprite group clear. Okay, clearing a group in Python. That's in Stack Overflow. We could either look in Stack Overflow or in the Pygame documentation itself. I tend to end up in Stack Overflow, so let's just take a peek at this. If you have a group of sprites such as this, is there any way to delete all the contents of that group? Sounds exactly what we're trying to do. And it says, yes, simple, just whatever it is, dot empty. So sprite list dot empty should work. Okay. Now let's go back and look at our Pygame documentation too, just to see. And pygame.sprite.group, there's our group. And here's all the different things we can do. Add, remove, update, draw, clear, and empty. See, removes all the sprites. If I click on empty, then it'll show me, well, let's see, here we go. So it shows me what to do. Okay, so let's just go up here. Let's type in something like pipes.empty, just like that. Let's see if that works. So we're going, we click, 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 click. Let's see if we can get through a pipe or two. Okay, now we'll crash. Okay, restart. Pipes are gone. I think we are in really good shape. Let's just try it again. A lot of testing involved in coding, and we're good. Okay, so I did want to show you, how you can find some answers on your own. Google is your friend, same with Stack Overflow, and of course the documentation for both Python and Pygame. So get used to looking for those things. The next iteration of Flappy Bird, Flappy 10, we are going to work on scores and high scores. Till then, see ya.